I'm 55 years old and laid off. Like, I am laid off. I don't have no job to get up and go to.
So I got laid off 3 weeks ago now. I took the first few days and cried. I think I was in shock. I'm 50.
Yesterday, I go into work. I go in the morning. My boss was in there and lays me off. Just like that. And then when you're in your 50s, like I am, 56, I'm 57. I'm going to be 50. In October, I'm going to be 57. Unbelievable.
And here I am, still 10 years away from retirement, and I don't give a rat's you-know-what, whether we have a job that's bringing in money or not.
So I got laid off a few weeks ago in my early 50s. I'm looking for a new job. That wasn't supposed to happen. That was not part of my plan.
Well, now, is it the end of work as we know it? For a growing number of creatives in their 40s and 50s, the rise of social media and artificial intelligence is upending their careers. New York Times reporter Stephen Kurtz, who got his start at a magazine, has witnessed many in the, quote, unhappy middle experience this tough challenge.
A certain slice of Gen X. I mean, not doctors and bankers and construction workers. I'm talking specifically about people who went into media and image making in the 1990s. And, these people and myself are now in their 40s and 50s. I'm Gen X as well. And if you're my age and you're in one of these fields, you either know people who this has happened to, where their job has basically become obsolete, or they're really struggling in their career, or it's happened to you, or you're one of the lucky survivors and you're afraid it's going to happen to you.
So I got laid off 3 weeks ago now. I took the first few days and cried. I think I was in shock. And then after that, I've just been contemplating life. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm actually really good at what I do. I had a big milestone birthday last week. I'm 50. Turned 50. Yay me. I'm at this crossroads. I feel like I'm at a crossroads in life. Do I take the path I know and hope that I can find something? Or do I travel down some other unknown path in life that's scary and new? 2025 was supposed to be my year. I was going to work on my health, wealth. I had already been thinking, gosh, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. But again, so scary. I'm 50. I need some advice. I need some ideas. If you love what you do, especially at my age, or even younger than me, because I don't feel 50. I don't act 50. Not that 50 is old. I'm just saying. I still have a lot of energy in me, still a lot of life. And so I gotta decide something soon because I need a job. I need to have some hope. I need to know that there's options out there. Yeah, some advice would be great.
Okay, so as she said, she's at a crossroads in her life right now. She didn't plan to be in this predicament, being laid off at just 50 or just before she celebrated her 50th birthday. So what a great birthday present, right? So now she's trying to decide, she's at a fork in the road. Does she go down one path or the other? One path is down what she already knows, what she's familiar with, going to look for a job that's already in her same career field, which she didn't mention what that is, or going down a completely different path, which is what she's asking people for advice on. Will that be working for herself? What would that be? But she needs the money. She can't afford to retire, it seems like. And she says she still has a lot of energy and she still feels young, which 50 is not old, but it is getting towards the latter part of your career. You're in the later stages of your career and you're looking towards retirement, and to be laid off at that juncture is just a very, very disadvantageous time for that to happen. Here, it would help to have a little more information and backstory and context to what her unique situation is. Is she married? Is she single? What does she do for a career? How much does she have invested? How much does she have saved? What skills does she have that she can apply to the market, that she could use to be a consultant, that she could use to start a business? Is she entrepreneurial minded? There's too many questions to have answered. All I know is that being laid off at 50, being laid off at all, like I said, is already terrible enough. But being laid off, I'd say anything 45 plus is already another layer of just weight and struggle than it already is.
That leaves us with no income. Ask me if I care, because I don't. I don't care right now. It's the weirdest thing. My whole life I have been so, give me plan A, plan B, plan C, backup plan upon backup plan. I got to save every penny that I earn, save for retirement. And here I am, still 10 years away from retirement. And I don't give a rat's you-know-what, whether we have a job that's bringing in money or not. It is the weirdest thing. So we're just going to build a business, enjoy our lives, sell a few assets, live a little bit more meager, and maybe that's not the right word. live more careful and see if that can get us where we want to be, because I think where I want to be is happy and not freaking tired all the time. And I know what I don't want is him going to work 8 o'clock in the morning and coming home every night at 7 o'clock exhausted.
I think that what's going on here could be one of two things. One is that she hasn't processed it yet, and so she hasn't had time to experience the full emotions that might come with your husband who's 57 years old and yourself who's 10 years away from retirement, as she said, being laid off, versus maybe because all of the work they put in, saving money, diligently investing, all those things that obviously weighed on her and obviously made her feel like she wasn't living the happiest, fullest life she could live. All those things have actually put them in a situation to where they don't have to stress as much because their husband's laid off. So it could be two sides of each coin. I'm not sure exactly which it is, but if you've been planning all this time, checking off every box, crossing every T, dotting every I, and making sure you're diligently planning for your future, it makes sense that if something like this happens, unfortunately, where your husband or your spouse is laid off at almost 60 years old, super close to retirement age, that instead of panicking and going into a frenzy and breaking down, instead you go, okay, we can sell some assets, we can reduce our lifestyle, which we were gonna probably do anyways when we retired anyways, and we'll be just fine. Nonetheless, being laid off at 57, guys, I mean, that's just a whole nother level of something I never want to experience. But unfortunately, it could literally happen to any of us.
So yesterday, I got laid off. I got laid off. What a humbling experience, I have to say. I mean, I've been working in the HR field for over 20 years. I'm 55 years old and laid off. Like, I am laid off. Like, I woke up this morning like, girl, you need somebody. You got stuff to do. And I was like, no, you don't. And I was like, so devastated. Like, my chest is kind of like sunk in. I was like, I don't have no job to get up and go to. Like, what am I getting ready to do? And that's a valid question. Like, what am I getting ready to do?
You know, I'm in my early 30s right now. I guess my mid 30s technically now. And I can't even imagine how it would feel to wake up. I guess I can imagine how I wake up and not have anything to do as far as a job. Now, I do a lot of things on the side, so I'd probably do those things, but I'd also be terrified and panicked because I'm like, okay, I need more money coming in. What am I going to do? I can only imagine how it feels for someone who is 20 years older than me, right? Or 20 years plus older than me. It's like, how do you process that? Now, I notice she has a wedding ring on, so I'm assuming she has a husband or a spouse at home that can help offset some of the expenses while she looks for another job, if that's what she plans to do. But I just imagine like you can see how she's just kind of at a loss. Like, what do I do? Like, her whole 20 years of her life has been tied up in this role, in her identity. And now to wake up the next one morning and not have that anymore, it's just like, what's next? I can only imagine having that feeling, but being, like I said, 20 plus years older than I am right now.
No, I'm not the only one, that's in the position. So I get that. But it's just a weird place to be at 55 and to not be employed. And considering I've been working since I was like 12, 13 years old, to now not be working is something, but I've been, thinking about a few things, like, going into business for myself, maybe changing my career field. I don't know. What do you guys think? What some of you all that have gone through the same thing, how did you get through it? Like, what did you do? So I'm just asking the question, like, now what?
So I'm noticing a theme here that people who are being laid off in an older age, again, Gen Xers, 50s, late 40s, I think early 60s even, they're at this place where they don't know what to do next. And there seems to be two very clear options or distinct options. One is to continue on the career path and try to find another job in what they were doing already. The other seems to be going into business for themselves, which makes sense because a lot of times when you're in a later career, you gain enough knowledge and experience and connections, hopefully, that you can maybe go into consulting, especially with HR. A lot of times it lends itself to consulting. You can go consult for different businesses. So she may be able to do that. So it just seems like a lot of people that are in this position tend to go that route, one of those two routes. And it makes a lot of sense. It just sucks to be in a position to where you're 55 years old, again, looking towards retirement, is right down in your grasp, hopefully, and to be hit with this and being laid off and to be forced into making a decision like this. Because most likely she wasn't making a decision. Most likely she was like, okay, I'll continue my career till 65 or 67 or 60 or 60, whatever it might, 63, whatever it might be, and then I'll retire and I'll be done with it. But now she's forced to say, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to have a career change? I mean, to have a career change at 55 to me just seems like it's something that you wouldn't really necessarily always, most of the time you wouldn't choose that just out of doing it for the sake of doing it. but most of the time because of an unfortunate situation, such as being laid off at an age like 55.
You guys ever have one of those weeks? It's been that way for me. Yesterday, I go into work. I go in the morning, and usually I'm the first one there. And yesterday, my boss was in there and lays me off. Just like that. He's a good guy, and I understand it's a business matter, but it it still sucks. So now I'm like going through the day, doing things, and I forget, I don't have a job. So now I'm in the job hunt once again. And this is why I always liked working for myself. People think I'm crazy for wanting to do that. It's so much work. You know what? Yeah, but it's so much work, and it's iffy and it's scary. But you can lose your regular job just like I did, just like that.
So really quickly before I let him finish, I want to interject and say that he brings up a really good point in that people look at 9-to-5s, W-2 jobs as being safe, and look at entrepreneurship or working for yourself or owning your own business as being more risky. But the truth of the matter is, at any moment, anytime, you could be laid off, just like this guy's been laid off. So it's not really that it's more safe. It's probably that it's more consistent, maybe a little more stable, in the sense that you might have a paycheck coming in at a more consistent basis. Maybe your salary, so you're probably gonna make the same amount for every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever it is, versus a business. Maybe you have more lean months, maybe you have months where you make more money, you have a little more to control and a little more to manage. But having a job is not that safe. It's really not safe as people think it is. He hasn't said how old he is yet. I wonder if he'll get there, but I'm gonna guess he's in his early 60s.
These companies don't care about you. Companies don't care about you. It's about business. It's about making money. If they're not making money and they could save a penny by letting you go, they're gonna let you go. That's why I always talk about, people think I have a bad work ethic. I don't. I just don't do the little extras when I work for somebody else. Because in the end, this is what happens. It doesn't matter. All the little extras you did, all the extra work that they ask you to do that you did, it doesn't matter if they need to save a penny. So where's the loyalty? And then when you're in your 50s, like I am, 56, I'm 57, I'm going to be 50, in October I'm going to be 57. Unbelievable. But when you reach this age, nobody really wants to hire you anymore, because you got a lot of life experience. The places can't take advantage of a 56-year-old because they'll tell them to go F off, right? So they rather go with the younger people, younger generation, pay them less to do your job. So it's really hard. It's really hard to get a job somewhere at this age. So I'm in for a rough time. Thank God I have a little side business. I always have something going in the background, but that's even taking a hit these days.
Do you guys agree with that? That companies would rather hire younger people and pay them less? I think that companies do tend to look for the people in the middle. A little bit older, not fresh out of college or extremely inexperienced, but someone who has maybe 5 to 10 years of experience, who they can pay a little bit less. And I think they try to target those people more as opposed to people who are older. Because let's be honest, there is a bit of ageism that happens, and it happens at both sides. It happens with people who are a bit older, like this gentleman. Yeah, he might have a bit of a hard time finding a job because a lot of companies, as he mentioned, don't want to hire someone who's a bit older, a bit more experienced, because they think that's going to cost more money. And as he mentioned, they may not be as malleable, let's say. And at the same time, they kind of discriminate age-wise sometimes against the younger people who are just fresh graduates and very entry-level people, because they don't want to spend the money to train them. So they want to have people that have some level of experience, some level of knowledge, bring them in at a reasonable salary and work with those people. And so that's why if you're at either end of the extreme, if you're out in the job market, it's going to be tougher for you. It's going to be tough for you compared to someone like myself, even maybe, who's in his early to mid 30s, who may, have some skills, some experience. They can bring me in and not have to pay me as much. So it's just an unfortunate reality. And again, just like the other people in his 50s, he's a Gen X. It seems like there's a lot of Gen Xers who are going through this. I actually have another video on this channel about a Gen Xer and how she is laid off and how she is now trying to figure out what to do. And she's severely scaling back her lifestyle to survive, essentially. It seems like it's an unfortunate trend. I hope it doesn't continue. And maybe it's not as bad as it seems, but it seems like it might be as bad as it seems. But with that being said, guys, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. Feel free to give it a like and to subscribe if you feel so too inclined, because it helps with the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.